Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Super Week in the Americas is over. Lots of important games last night, especially a big bounce-back game for NRG up against Crew Esports. A must-win game in many respects for them if they wanted to keep their playoff streams alive, and that is exactly what they have done. The same also true for 100 Thieves, taking down MIBR. Big reaction to these series from FNS and Boost and from others in terms of what the playoffs are going to look like, but also Sentinels confirmed playoffs qualification with the result of last evening. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. First of all, a quick update on the whole Edward Gaming coaching thing, because we saw this tweet yesterday on after getting laid off, and basically they're changing their coaching staff around. Some mixed information on this, because there was other discussion that actually no, their coach is going to be back after the playoffs, as in their coach is coming back after, well, for playoffs. He's in Taiwan now, and Caster Yu Tong said that he's coming back, but apparently the team thinks differently, so I think it's very confusing exactly what's going on there in China right now with Edward Gaming, but clearly they are struggling to find their groove yet again. Just before we dive into many of these matches, I did want to mention this, because Tarek made the comment, I know that he was joking obviously, but like Demon 1 to Loud could be a possibility. Who do they drop? Pankara, Toys has to go, he's like baby Aspas. We looked at that clip yesterday, but of course the question was, right, like let's just take this realistically for a second, is it worth just, making a roster change, signing a new player, or is it worth building out some player development? It certainly can be true that you sign a team, you work with the team to get better, and they do get better, and they start winning at the end of the season. But often I find that for teams that are like that, they've required some sort of change somewhere, either a one-player move, either a role swap, either a coaching change, something to that effect, if they want to really take the next level and start winning championships. But true, player development is a thing, people can get better. The concern though that has been raised by, for example, Vladkor here from NRG is that good luck doing that when you play basically no games. And this is maybe one of the reasons why we see more roster changes, is because the teams do not have the number of matches, the amount of competition to actually improve and work on and grind out and basically make a player better over time. So as he says, go and try to develop a player in 12 matches, like it ain't gonna happen. So the point basically is, if things aren't working well, you can't really just stick with it, because you're playing lots of practice. Practice might not be going so well, then you play like one match and then that's your only match for like the next couple of weeks. So, obviously if you do well, if you qualify better, then finally get to play more matches. But for most teams, they are not playing much Valorant at all, and therefore the solution seems to be for some of the teams, okay, we're just got to make a roster change. We're just got to try another player and hope that it works, because we don't have the time to go down a different route. But let's talk about EMEA. Going into the day, Fnatic for esports, they seem to be locked up here to the playoffs. Some big results though. Heretics take down Giant.X. This was an interesting result, because Giant.X kind of needed the dub here, but Cloud has come in and has IGL'd this team, I believe, in this series. Famzy as well slips in, of course, for Redgar, and they look really competitive. I mean, this is pretty damning for Redgar in some respects, right? That they get rid of him, they bring in another Finnish player, and all of a sudden they're being pretty competitive with the best team in the region, at least based on recent evidence. 39 binds, but they bounced back in a 15-13 wild overtime on the split before going down in a pretty competitive haven as well. It was very competitive until the second half, where Heretics eventually ran away with it on the attacking side. But yeah, still for Giant.X, they will take some optimism away from this. The problem is in terms of the standings, it just isn't looking good enough really. They're now 3-6, so they can only get to 4-6 at best, and realistically that's probably not going to be enough. But like, they made a change, they tried, and their final game is against FUT Esports, so that is also not ideal, when FUT Esports also got a 2-0 dub yesterday against Gentlemate. So that was relatively clean cut, 13-8 and then eventually 13-4 in the split, which was actually Gentlemate's pick, but they go down pretty comfortably. Whalers only has 3 frags at the end of that, so unfortunate for him, but this is the overall situation. So for esports, Heretics, Fnatic, they're all in for sure, guaranteed. Congratulations to the playoffs. The rest of the teams, it is still kind of all to play for, and even for Giant.X, but certainly Gentlemates, Liquid, teams that have only played 8 games, it is still very much alive for them as well. But let's talk about the Americas, because here's Booster in the background getting ready to go for their series against MIBR. An absolute must win against MIBR yesterday. If they didn't win, you know, who knows what Nadeshot decides to do. It's got Boostio's out of there on the spot or whatever after the drama that we've seen over the last couple of weekends. But as EU says, MIBR today, nah, I'd win. And, well, fortunately for 100T, this did not come back to bite them as, well, basically Sentinel say MIBR have the chance to do the funniest thing. And because Cryo was kind of predicting it a few days before, that's not happening, bro, says Boostio. And that's exactly what happens, right? So, yeah, fair play to Boostio and the team on 100 Thieves. They bounced back, they played some good stuff, and that's what they absolutely needed to see. Now, look, LRMIBR any good? No. Will 100T need to do better? Yes. But nonetheless, 100T handled business like they had to, and it was a clean 2-0 victory for the 100 Thieves boys. So this also, by the way, with the MIBR loss, that means that Furia were then eliminated because 100T could no longer finish below Furia effectively. So despite Furia's good results, that's them dusted. And, you know, as Boostio says, you guys won the battle, but we won the war because we're going to be at the playoffs and you most certainly aren't. As Zik says, their head coach, Slump No More, Teams Insane are officially back. We'll see if they're back when they play a stronger team, but it is one to look at. Must needed win. Got to keep this momentum for our next 2 games, he says. So this was the overall result, a 2/100T over MIBR. Icebox was 13-5, Split was 13-6. Like, not even close. Clean dub. EU was 26-5, map 2 on the fade after talking that trash in the pre-game, and not too much really more to say on that series. The big result, though, was for Sentinels because they confirmed their spot to the World Championship playoffs, okay, the Stage 2 playoffs, as a result of this. So they're in a really good position now to get to the World Championship. That is now locked in. It was never looking like that touch and go for Sentinels. I always thought they'd have enough, but the fact that they've come in since effectively Shanghai, they've come back from practice while the other teams are out in Shanghai. They've come through and they've just handled business against basically everyone they've played, and that has been good enough to get them to the playoffs. But the question was, could NRG bounce back? Would they be able to defeat Crew Esports, the team that had such a good run at the start of the season, has fallen off in the last couple of weeks, made some changes, swapped out the in-game leader, Crew looking for that kind of silver bullet or whatever you want to say. But NRG come through and they break the losing streak. So I'll share a couple of clips here in a second, but a 2-1 for NRG over Crew Esports, and a massively important one of that. FNS was way better in this series. It was actually great to see him really turn it around because he had a stinker the other day by his own admission as well. But, you know, he was clutching 1 versus 1s. It was cool to see him back to some degree of form. Som, you know, it was like a Victor, actually it was a Crashies clutch towards the end of the game, kind of vintage Crashies in some respects. There were glimpses here of the NRG super team we expected maybe at the start of the season, and like the NRG and the optic of old in the way that the series went down, and especially because they had to bounce back from a 13-8 loss on Split. They won the Ascent 13-8 on their own pick though after a solid defensive side, and then Sunset was 13-7, relatively comfortable dub. So congrats to NRG. They keep their hopes alive.
I'm so proud of NRG. Can they still qualify for playoffs? Yes. It's very slim, but yes. I'm just happy we finally won. It's not as slim as people think, actually. Really? Okay, so how do we make it? Someone needs to tell me exactly what needs to happen. There's too many scenarios. Oh. Multiple scenarios for NRG to make playoffs. NRG beats C9, okay. Crew beats C9. 100 Thieves beat EG. Wait, what? I thought you said EG need to beat 100 Thieves. I don't think this is accurate. 2-0 C9. Man, like, maybe 2-1 just in case. And then beats Loud. 100 Thieves beats Loud, but can lose if Lev beats Loud. Wins against EG. Crew 0-2 versus G2 and 0-2 versus... Bro, you think Crew's gonna get 0-2 though? Like, really? EG loses versus 100 Thieves 0-2. MIBR's not gonna 0-2 EG. Wait, this is what has to happen? This is what has to happen? Actually? This is the one other scenario? Oh, okay. Crew lose out and EG lose out, but it doesn't be 2-0. Okay, that one I can work with.
Now it's your favorite IGL's favorite IGL. It is FNS. God, that must feel good, FNS.
Yeah, feels good to win.
Feels good to win. I mean, it's been a long time coming. You took that long break and you had those tough losses, and now to literally hear everyone chanting your name. When we saw your intensity sitting there, you know, Andre said you looked angry, you looked intense. Yeah. Were you angry?
Nah, just focused. I mean, we're 0-2, so...
Not anymore?
Well, we were 0-2,
We're 0-2.
so that's probably why I look so pissed. But yeah, focused more than anything else.
I mean, I was talking to one of my first rival interviews with you, Sam, and he says that you were losing a lot in scrims and that you were learning a lot from that. What were some of those things that you learned that you applied today?
Protocols and how to actually use them in the matches. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we do in scrims, we play very properly, we practice very properly. We just couldn't translate it to scrims at all. Also, my form was absolutely terrible, so thankfully I plugged in the mouse today. But yeah, in general, I'm happy with.
You played way better today. You should be proud.
I mean, it's so many things. It was so many things we were doing wrong that we fixed for today.
Not so clear, though, exactly what their chances are to get to the playoffs. There's a number of ways they can make the playoffs, depending on their results. Effectively, they just need to win, and then, if certain other results go their way, they'll get through. But I'm not sure it's entirely in their own hands in terms of how this final game is going to go. What they really need to do, of course, is beat Cloud9, and that is, of course, going to be easier said than done. But as FNS says, 1-2-1 versus Crew. GG, well played. Thanks to all of our supporters, as always. Just quickly on Crew, though, by the way, because have a look at this. What do you guys think is the explanation for this? Let's go back to this. This is the start of the 2023 America season where they have the horrible 0-9 run. They turn up to the last chance qualifier and they win it, right? Famously, they made this insane run to win the LCQ, go to Champions, then get bopped out of Champions immediately, lost everything they played in the off-season, started off the season pretty badly at the kickoff, then just started winning everything again. What is it with this team, right? What is the momentum switches on this team? They go from losing everything in a row to winning 5 series on the bounce to losing all their series since then, and then they win 5 on the bounce again in stage 1 before now losing 5 in a row. Have you ever seen anything like this, guys? I really have not. So, this is what Crew are doing, and yeah, they've overthought things for me. They're making changes, but also they're just a very momentum-based team with a rather unique style, to say the very least, and it doesn't seem to be helping them right about now. What it does mean, though, of course, we look at stage 2 for the Americas, is you'll find the following. So, Lev, Sen, G2, Crew, Cloud9, 100Ts. 100T at 4-4, EG at 4-4, NRG at 4-5. So they need to win to get to 5-5, and if a couple of results go their way, they'll get through. But if a couple of results don't go their way, then it becomes somewhat more of a challenge. But Fury are eliminated, MRB are eliminated, obviously. Loud still have an outside chance as well if things were to go their way. But NRG versus Cloud9 in a couple of days' time is going to be the crucial game to determine who's going to get through and who's not. Because technically, I guess Cloud9 could even miss out if they end up 5-5 with a poorer record than NRG. So they play Crew just after that, which maybe right now is not too bad. And Crew themselves are 5-3, right? So, they went from 5-0 to 5-3, and all of a sudden it's not exactly a guarantee that they're going to be in the playoffs either. So still kind of all to play for right now, and this means that Liv and Sen have clinched. Nobody else technically has yet. In terms of championship points, Sentinels are now at 12, which is actually really nice for them. So even if they don't make it to champs through the playoffs, there's a good chance they'll make it anyway, based on pure season standings over the course of the year. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.